All right, I've been sent this video by a few people. Apparently, this trans barista or barista, is there like a how is it spelled? Is there like a double meaning? Like, I don't know. Basically, the person who gives you your coffee at the bear, but it's spelled barrister. Okay, I listen. I've never been to a Starbucks before. The person at Starbucks that gives you your coffee has a meltdown because 8 hours is too long to work on a day, or in a day, I guess they meant. Let's watch the video. The conservatives have apparently lost their mind over this clip. Let's see what the big issue is. God, 10.5 million views. All right, what's the big deal?
People wonder why we need a union at Starbucks, and I am literally about to quit. Like, I don't know if I'm going to do it, but, like, I really want to.
Oh, okay, cool. So this is ghoulish anti-union and anti-trans propaganda. Cool.
I almost walked out today.
Not the video I'm watching right now, but the people that are, like, shitting on it, they're doing anti-union and anti-trans propaganda. Two birds in one stone.
And I'm crying in the back room right now, and I almost cried on the floor. It's just... I'm like a full-time student. I get scheduled for 25 hours a week, and then on weekends they schedule me the entire day, open to close. I'm on the schedule for 8.5 hours, both Saturday and Sunday. I'm like 3.5 hours into my shift. There's so many customers, and we have 4 people on the floor all day.
So, basically, the problem here is that he's overwhelmed with work and it's getting to him. That's the problem. Let me tell you how conservatives think. All right. Conservatives, and I should say, like, there are two types of conservatives in this position, right? You have the ones that are actual millionaires and billionaires who have a vested interest in defending the current, mechanisms through which our class structures, like our society structures class, right? They need to be the 1%. There needs to be a bottom 99%, right? That's sort of how they operate and what they get off on, right? Then you've got the temporarily embarrassed millionaires, right? Your average, like, capitalist conservative who's probably not doing that well for themselves. At best, they're probably middle class, but they think that were they able to take advantage of all the opportunities in front of them, or if they genuinely just decided one day to buckle down, they could become a millionaire, or that they do have a destiny in which they become a millionaire already. And so any changes to the system that benefits the working class and in any way does not benefit or perhaps even harms, quote unquote, the upper ownership class, like the capitalist ruling class, that in their eyes is a bad thing, right? Not even something worth considering as a sacrifice to make, because they see themselves as having a future as one of the millionaires on the other side of this whole thing. Now, the perspective they're going to try to push here is this person is a lazy whiner. That's their go-to for every single leftist or socialist who complains or tries to make the argument that working conditions are too tough, or that, hours are too long, pay isn't good enough, benefits aren't good enough, treatment by employers is bad, etc. Time off is not numerous or given freely enough, things like that, right? These are things that workers ought to be fighting for. They are instead trying to frame fighting for these things as being lazy and unwilling to work hard. Propaganda just like this was used against workers' rights movements going back hundreds of years ago, right? Nowadays, you can't hire the Pinkertons to come and kill all of your striking workers if they don't, get back to work. So instead, you have to engage in a multi-billion-dollar propaganda machine online to basically make socialism, or really any form of pro-worker advocacy, look like the boogeyman, because you can't actually win in the battleground of ideas.
Only 5 people were put on the schedule, and somebody had to call out. And there are 4 people running the whole store, and there's so many customers, and there's possibly scheduled 5 people. We only have 13 people employed at this store, and there's so many customers. And they're good. We don't have fair scheduling. Managers don't care about us. Our manager was supposed to come in this weekend, and he took himself off the schedule, so he wouldn't be able to be held accountable for calling out. He just literally tore down the schedule that he was scheduled on and put up a new schedule where.
So, I want to talk about the conservative mindset, okay? I mentioned this earlier in the stream when I was responding to Ben Shapiro's video, but it's relevant. It's more relevant now, and we've got new people here, and it's a different video, so, might as well repeat myself. The vast majority of conservatives online right now are young. I'm not saying they're like teenagers, like young teenagers, like 13 or 14. A lot of them are like 15, 16, 17 or whatever, but they haven't reached the age of empathy yet. Like, a lot of the people you'll meet online that are right-wing are younger people who think that caring about other people's problems and wanting to improve the world and caring makes you, well, it makes you something that I can't say on stream, so I'll instead say care frog, right? It isn't cool. It isn't cool or edgy to care about improving people's lives or making the world a better place. It isn't subversive or like counterculture to do that. Everybody believes that being a good person is, a good thing. It makes you seem like a normie to want to preserve happiness or goodness. Look at any popular 4chan history video, right? It'll be some video where it's like, hey Zoomers, let me tell you guys the story about when these based people on 4chan triggered a bunch of normies. Isn't this cool? And then a bunch of 13 and 14-year-olds are like, oh, 4chan's so cool! Oh my god, these 4chaners are like super internet detectives, soy! And that's the whole demographic of content creation online. It's really that same psychology. It's the same psychology that motivates it, right? Where it's people who have not developed empathy yet, who think the concept of not giving a shit about people's feelings and being an asshole is what makes you cool and more masculine or powerful, when in reality, at a certain age, they're just going to grow out of it and realize, wow, I was a real dickhead when I was 16, 17, 18. So glad I grew out of that. And that'll be a lot of them in 3 to 4 years.
Where he wasn't on the schedule, also he couldn't.
That is the only way that a video like this can be, objectionable to you. If you take some sort of joy or derive some sort of, displeasure from seeing other people, 1, happy, or 2, talk about things that are making them upset, trying to make things better. Because that's something that to you is a sign of weakness or a sign of oh, what a fucking pussy, you care? You care about making the world a better place? Zan, plenty of adults are like that too. Yeah, but I think the vast majority of teenagers grow out of it. I mean, a lot of you were like this at some point. Whether you realize it or not, a lot of you were like this. Where you just found other people's suffering to be the peak of comedy and enjoyment. It's the same thing that fuels where you get the comedy out of people getting hurt in videos, right? I think anybody at any age can appreciate the humor and somebody getting kicked in the balls. When you're 10 or 15 or whatever, you see videos of people dying or breaking their arms or getting seriously injured, and you're like, ha ha ha, so funny, man, ha ha, what an idiot, what a fucking dumbass, what a piece of shit, what an idiot, he deserves that, Darwinism, that Darwinism award, but then when you're a bit older, you're like, oh my god, holy fuck, that guy had dreams and bills to pay and family and friends, and he can't walk again. That motherfucker can't oh my god, imagine the pain he's in. He's got to go through physical therapy, the medical bills. Holy shit. Maturity brings a level of empathy into your perspective that completely changes the way that you view the world and the way that you view socio-political issues that I think a lot of younger people and a lot of people so old they've forgotten about this stage in their life don't realize is such a massive factor to how these people think and behave
have even seen that he was scheduled in the first place because he didn't want to be held accountable for not wanting to come in. They don't want to help us. We need a union because this can't happen. This can't happen. We need...
Age has nothing to do with it. Age is not a causing factor in, like, a causatory. Is that like a cause? I don't know what the word is. Age does not cause mental development, but it usually correlates with mental development. You know what I mean? My point is that for a lot of these people, they'll get older, they'll have more experience, they'll become more wise, and they'll realize why they're, like, wannabe edgelord, don't care about anything, feelings are gay, perspective is cringe. And they'll grow out of it. A lot of them will.
Fair scheduling. We need managers to hold themselves accountable for helping their workers. They refuse to turn mobile orders off. We need the liberty to be able to do that because there's so many mobile orders and I need to get through all of them, and then people are yelling at me because I don't have their orders ready and they don't know what to do. And a customer was
I don't really know what else I'm supposed to say here other than, like, I feel bad this guy has to deal with, like, work hours and work that is causing them issues. Like, in an ideal world, like, nobody would have to be overworked, right? Like, I think that conditional survival is kind of bullshit in our world, you know? Like, I don't think you have to be a socialist to believe that survival being conditional based on whether or not you provide value to a private corporation or to the government, to the state. Like, I guess you can just go be a prisoner and then do labor for the state or provide some value to the state or to a private prison. But, like, I don't think that being the condition for survival is good. I think that's bad. I don't think lazy people's punishment for being lazy... Let's say you've got someone who's just totally fucking lazy and says, nah, I don't want to work. I want to sit at home and play video games all day. Does that person deserve to die? Like, in our modern society, does that person deserve to die because they'd rather sit at home playing video games instead of getting scammed by some employer like everybody else? Now, the conservative response, or like the capitalist response, would be like, yeah, everybody else has to work hard. Why should that guy not have to? That is not an answer to what I said. Nobody should have to work that hard. Nobody should have to work their fucking hands to the bone with back-breaking labor to the age of fucking 70 or whatever, 65, to be able to retire. And trust me, a lot of Americans are retiring older or never nowadays, and it's only getting worse. Why should providing more labor value to some millionaire be the condition for your survival? Why should that be the condition for making more money for somebody who has more money than they'll ever spend is the condition for you to be able to have enough money to buy food and housing and utilities? That just seems like an unfair world to live in. Now, you could make the argument it was, you know, it's always been unfair, but it seems even more unfair now that it's not necessary, you know? It's just not necessary. I really don't think it is.
Gendering me today, like, really badly. I didn't have their order ready, and so they were just like talking to each other, and they're like, she's clearly incompetent. I have a full mustache and beard.
Wait, okay. So now in the end of the video, it's not even... This isn't even just somebody... This isn't even just a trans guy who works at, like, Starbucks just complaining about the work hours. This is a trans guy who has just been misgendered. Either I couldn't hear if it was by an employee or by like a customer, by like the employer or another employee or whatever. But like that seems to be what sent him over the edge. But yeah. That actually surprises me. You have to be like, I'm sorry guys. Am I like, have I drank too much of the pro-trans propaganda Kool-Aid that I would not assume this guy is a trans dude? I would assume this guy's a cis guy. Like, Yeah, he's got a mustache and like a beard coming in. Like, who the fuck is misgendering? It had to have been like a coworker.
What the fuck?
But Zan, don't you know that men must be competent always? Woman is when bad at your job. Yeah, but like, you'd have to know this person, I would assume, to know that they were trans, right? Like, he doesn't, like, he just, I would not even come close to thinking he was a trans guy. That's just my, it's my read of things. Maybe I've drank the pro-trans Kool-Aid too much, guys.
Fuck. I don't get accommodations for being neurodivergent. I don't. Like, I can't use. Like, people get mad at me for using my sick time.
What does them having to be being trans have to do with anything? He got misgendered just then. That's what happened. He was talking about getting misgendered as well. That's why it's relevant that he's trans. Not to get doomer, but the first real vacation I had that I can remember was to visit my dying grandma. So it's so bad that people don't even have enough time or money to take a break from their soul-crushing jobs on a regular basis. People really don't have any autonomy. Yeah, but they've been taught it's normal and everyone else has to do it. So if everyone else has to do it, then you're a bitch or a lazy scumbag who needs to get a job, or you work harder and make more money, or you're just mad you don't make more money if you complain about the system or argue that's not equal. And guess what? If you're wealthy or well off and you complain about the system, then you're a hypocrite. If you work hard and you make a decent like living for yourself, and you do exactly what they say you ought to do in the system, and you say, "Hey guys, I did it. I beat the game. I beat the game." It's like if you played a video game that's like really properly imbalanced to be unfairly hard, and you're like, you play the first couple levels and you're like, wow, this is like too hard. This is not possible. Like, the devs need to like tune this. And there's like a bunch of tryhards who are like, nah, man, nah, dude, you just need to try harder, bro. You just need to try harder, bro. But then like you complete the game, you actually like finish the game, and it's like, okay, I beat the game. It's still too hard. It's still too difficult. They need to like tune it to be easier. And then their response is like, you're just a fucking hypocrite. You played through the game. What do you have to complain about? Like it's literally that level of logic. Can you fucking imagine that logic being used to justify overtuned content in a game? Where like the community is complaining about the content being overtuned? I'm sure it's been done before, but nobody would defend it. Like, nobody, like, everybody shits on those guys.
I don't even know what to do anymore. I'm, like, at my wit's end with this job. I really am. I just want to leave.
So, yeah, basically, there's nothing wrong with that video, but apparently it's not just random conservative nobodies. I have no idea who Sebastian Gorka, Dr. G, is, but apparently even fucking Fox News covered this story. It really does seem like right now Fox News has been on more of a anti-workers' rights bent than usual, and it's unfortunate that so much of the attention has been diverted to their like overt, like fascist social messaging that like not a lot of people have also paid attention to the fact that they're also being complete fucking ghouls about workers' rights recently. Have you heard about the quiet quitting thing? I did a video on it. You should definitely look it up. Xanderhal quiet quitting on YouTube if you want to see it. They've tried to claim that quiet quitting, it's a word they've made up for, guess what it is? Doing your job. Doing your job and not going the extra mile for no pay is now called quiet quitting by these corporate ghouls. It is just one of the most despicable examples of their recent push to try to further normalize and like anti-worker sentiment and demonize pro-worker sentiment. It's pretty fucked. Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this segment and you want to see more from me, and you agree that conservatives think that cruelty is a virtue, then consider dropping a like down below. It helps out the channel, my videos, and my streams a lot more than I think you guys realize. You can also subscribe and ring the bell icon to turn on all notifications so YouTube tells you when I go live or I upload a new video or anything like that. And of course, if you want to see more from me online, you can follow my social medias, which are all linked down below in the description. And finally, if you want to support me financially and you've got the money for it and you don't need it for anything else, you can donate, subscribe, or gift a sub to me on my website, xanderhal.com/live, or you can support me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, or even through Patreon. All linked down below. With all that said, thank you so much for watching, and have a good one.